Hello, it's Reija and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my week 3 of reading for the 30 in 30 manga reading challenge, where I endeavor to read 30 manga in 30 days in November. And this week I read exactly the amount of volumes that I need to read in order to stay on track, but incidentally only from 2 series. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, start of the third vlog, so week 3. Considering that November started around the middle of the week, week 3 is like halfway over because it is Friday right now. So I read 2 volumes of Berserk. I read volumes 22 and 23, and I have 2 more volumes waiting for me at the library, so I'm making very good progress on my Berserk reread, which I've actually been meaning to continue on. And these volumes, I'm so far ahead in the series now, like honestly I'm not even reaching the midpoint yet actually, but I've progressed so far that I can't really show you like the art in the way that I normally would. So I will just show you a couple of my favorite double spreads, like from these 2 volumes. So they're not too spoilerific in terms of like, because you won't have any context, so like, you know, but like the art in Berserk has always been phenomenal. I will continue to love Kentaro Miura's art. Like he was and he is one of my artistic heroes and inspirations. I really love his art style and his attention to detail. And one day I will have the spoons and the energy to sit down and collect all my sources and do a full video essay on how this series deconstructs toxic masculinity in the character of Guts. If I want to take a positive spin on what makes Berserk so great, and probably there's another good discussion to be had about the problems that Berserk has with its entire female cast. So, you know, like this series has like potentials for so many discussions. And I love it. I love the journey. Volume 23, though, contains a pretty graphic scene of sexual assault. Miura, why? Like, I love Berserk. I really do, but at the same time, why? Did it need to be there? Arguably, I'd say no, but then again, like, and also, like, this is one of those things again, the scene of sexual assault is used to fuel Guts' narrative arc. And it didn't happen to Guts. I'm just saying. So I'm I'm so conflicted because I really love this series so much. This is like the 3rd time I'm reading it from start to finish. I really do think that this series has so much narrative and artistic merit. However, the caveats, like this is like the grimdark fantasy you will ever see. Like this is full on like body horror, gore, like, and that, like, I feel like because I have been forged in the fires of Berserk, I have no stomach to read grimdark fantasy. Like this is the only grimdark series that I will touch, pretty much. And yeah, that's my limit. Like I've maxed out all my grimdark stats on Berserk, and I cannot abide anything else. Yeah. It's like fluff from here on out on all other fronts, because yikes, this series just continues to one up the ways in which it just shows these characters go through the most horrific situations. Be it women, children, men, anyone's fair game, though some are more fair game than others, you know. So, but yeah, I still really like Berserk. So yeah, that has been the first two things that I've read for part 3 of this challenge. Hello, it's Sunday, November 20th now, and last time I talked to you, I had just finished reading a couple volumes of Berserk by Kentaro Miura, and I have to say, Berserk is brutal and grim, so obviously I had to do some palate cleansing, so I basically have been reading A Man and His Cat by Umi Sakurai. I finished 3 volumes. Now I'm all caught up. Like I have the volume 6 has been out for about a month or so. So that's the only volume I haven't read of this series. I'm pretty much all caught up with it. And it is the perfect palate cleanser for like to offset anything that is really brutal and gross and grim and has a lot of body horror and gore and horror elements. Like this is the most feel-good series. It is basically all about cat ownership, all about like living life with having pets and having especially like cats. Volume 5 actually deals a lot about like cats running off and like finding cats and stuff. And like if you lose a pet and if you have a missing pet, like what that will look like how would you get them back, etc. But I will say that this series on and all, like overall, is very like hopeful, because this series kind of wants to give you the fantasy of pet ownership, of like everyone always having the best interests at heart for their pets and loving them unconditionally. So even in volume 5, there's this stray cat who has been like basically a runaway and a stray for a long time. Even he gets to be like rehomed and stuff and going home to his family and stuff. So this series kind of like takes a step back from the reality of what life is like for cats actually, because like in reality cats get abandoned all the time. They don't necessarily get rehomed. People will like in actuality just dump their cats somewhere. For example, in Finland there is a practice which is quite rampant called summer cats, which is when people take a cat for the summer, usually a kitten, to take it to a summer cabin where their kids can play with the cat. And then when the cat during the summer grows a little older and grows up, they just leave it when they go back to their actual like non-summer residences. And it's a huge problem. Stray and feral cat populations are also a problem. So I'm of two minds about this in the context of this series, where I quite like that it wants to show this sort of utopian fantasy about like cat ownership, but at the same time I'm torn because it annoys me to no end, because this series could actually like show some actual statistics and like bring awareness to what the situation is like. And I know for a fact that, for example, Japan has also a problem with feral cat populations and stray cats and stuff. And also a problem with kitten and puppy mills. And also like cats being, and pets in general being bought from pet shops, and pet shops being fronts for kitten and puppy mills. So, you know, I'm conflicted. At the one end, I really enjoy having this escapist utopian fantasy, this feel-good series about cat ownership, and incidentally about people navigating their own grief and like finding solace in like pet ownership, but at the same time the reality, is something that I can't ignore, because all of my pets have been rescues. Like, yeah. So yeah, I'm of two minds about this. So I'm happy that it is about palette cleanser, but it also makes me think about really sad things sometimes, like, So yeah, nice ways to end the Sunday, ranting about the inhumanity of people abandoning their pets in the forest when they grow tired of them. Yeah. So anyway, that is it for this vlog for now. I think tomorrow I should read one more thing, and then I'm up to speed with this vlog, and week 3 is over after that. So yeah. Okay, it is Tuesday, November 22nd. And week 3 of manga reading challenge is going well. I am on track. Have finished 22 manga in 22 days. That said, the manga that I finished just now was has been the 24th and 25th volumes of Berserk. Last week, or rather during this vlog, during the 3rd week period, I already finished 2 volumes of Berserk. So in 1 week I finished 4 volumes of Berserk by Kentaro Miura, translated by Duane Johnson. And after volumes 22 and 23, I read 3 volumes of A Man and His Cat for palette cleansing purposes, because Berserk is cruel, Berserk is brutal. And now the Hunchback of Notre Dame soundtrack is ringing in my head. Anyway, that said, now I need to palette cleanse again. Luckily, I just bought the next 2 volumes of Sweat and Soap. So the next 2 things I'm going to be reading are going to be those 2. Because, especially this volume, like, okay, both of these volumes, okay? Both of these volumes contain sexual violence. Pretty, like, gross sexual violence. Bestiality. Like, I know it's a thing in this series, but at the same time, like, I will be, like, applauding this series for, like, thoughtful character work and awesome world building. And Miura will be, like, doing these philosophical, like, treatises on various topics, like belief systems and indoctrination and religious like fanaticism, etc. And also like kind of like these authoritarian like authoritative totalitarian rulers, and like the fallacy of the right of kings. Essentially, he's critiquing that a lot. And then he will go like make some really cool like showcase some really cool aspects happening, especially with the introduction of Shirke in these last few volumes, of like her magical ability and stuff, and like and it will be awesome. And I will be like, yes, we will get 1 volume where there will be no sexual violence towards women, and then I will be like, Miura, goddammit, we were doing something. We were on the right track. You got through like 70% of the volume without including 1 scene. And you just had to do it. We already knew the trolls were bad news. In this, I think it reminded me, if you've ever played Dragon Age, And you ever got to the dwarven sections in Dragon Age, and you have that story section about the brood mothers. If you know the context for the brood mothers, this volume introduces a similar storyline to that storyline. And it's gross. And I have to laugh because the other option would be to cry. So I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's horrendous. Miura, why? Why? Like, two things can be true at once. Berserk can be a fantastic takedown of toxic masculinity and like the idea of revenge and you know, all that. And it can also at the same time be a total shitfest when it comes to its exploration or lack thereof of women. So yeah, this is why I'm very torn every time I'm like every time I express my admiration for the series, because I really like, as I have stated, this is my third reread of this series. I first started reading Berserk when I was 16. That's 20 years ago. That was in... No, wait. I'm lying now. Actually, I was 18. So it was in 2006 that I started reading Berserk. And so it's been close to 20 years that I've been reading this series, and this is my third reread. So also I would say that I started reading Berserk way too young. Don't introduce, like, okay, parental advisory, you know, you should be over 18 to read this, but you know, 18 is pretty young still to start reading this series. I might have been a little younger though, because I distinctly remember being in high school when I first started reading the series. It's a lot. But I've also kind of grown up with it. Yeah. Anyway, this has been the third week of my reading, and it has been 50-50 of Berserk and A Man and His Cat, grimdark and fluffy things. So here we go. And there you have it. This has been my week 3 of reading for the 30 in 30 manga reading challenge, and as you saw, I only read from 2 series, so it was basically me reading Berserk, reading a lot of grimdark, and then having to do a big palate cleanse by reading something fluffy and innocent and uncomplicated, because Berserk can be a lot. I still love the series though, like with a lot of caveats obviously, but like I can't help but admit that Berserk has been one of the most influential series to me growing up. I do admit that I have started reading it way too young, so, you know, there's that. But yeah, I still feel like every reread of that series always makes me discover something new and discover some new aspects that I like about the characters. Also some new aspects that I hate about the characters, but you know, I take what I can get. Anyway, if you got this far, please leave me a sword emoji, because Guts, the main protagonist of Berserk, carries a huge-ass sword that influenced a lot of media with huge-ass swords, including Final Fantasy VII, so you know, there's that. And so leave me a sword emoji if you got this far, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye bye!